the city of Neoterra hummed a quiet, electric lullaby outside Ilara's window. It was a comforting sound, a constant thrum of energy flowing through the sky-reaching spires and the intricate network of suspended walkways that crisscrossed the cityscape. But tonight, it also felt a little lonely. Ilara, a wisp of a girl with eyes the color of deep space and hair like spun nebulae, pressed her forehead against the cool transparent steel. Below, the city sprawled in a magnificent tapestry of light, each building a miniature galaxy unto itself, twinkling with 1,000 internal suns. Above, however, was the usual disappointment, the shimmering, pearlescent haze of the atmospheric shield. It was a marvel of engineering, protecting Neoterra from stray meteoroids and solar radiation, maintaining a perfect, breathable climate. But it also blotted out the real stars. She sighed, a small puff of air against the glass. Her room was cozy, a perfect blend of soft fabrics and smart tech. Her bed floated on a magnetic field, adjusting its firmness to her mood. Her walls shimmered with customizable bioluminescent patterns. And her ceiling, her ceiling was her most treasured possession. At the touch of a button, it transformed into a perfect real-time projection of the night sky, fed by orbital telescopes far beyond the shield. Tonight, Orion hung low, a sparkling hunter pursuing the Pleiades don't. "It's not the same though, is it, Orion?" she whispered, tracing the constellation's belt with a finger. She knew all the constellations, the nebulae, the distant galaxies. She knew their names, their distances, their stories. Her parents, both astrometrical cartographers for the Interstellar Guild, had made sure of that. They were the ones who had instilled in her this insatiable hunger for the cosmos. But knowing was different from seeing. Different from maybe being there. Her parents were always there. Or rather, out there. Their current assignment had taken them to the Kepler 186 system, light years away, charting potential new worlds. They communicated daily, of course, their holographic projections appearing in her living room, their voices as warm and loving as if they were right beside her. But a hollow hug wasn't a real hug, and a projected bedtime story wasn't a real one. Not when her own parents were millions of kilometers away, breathing alien air. "Sleep well, stargazer," her mother's holographic image had said earlier, her smile soft but tinged with the familiar wistfulness of distance. Dream of new worlds. Ilara wanted more than dreams. She wanted to see them. Her gaze drifted from the simulated stars to the corner of her room, where a large egg-shaped object sat on a low pedestal. It was smooth, pearlescent silver, with subtle iridescent streaks that caught the ambient light, making it seem to pulse with a quiet internal glow. It was a gift from her parents, delivered via a guild drone about 6 months ago. They had called it the Astro Nimbus. "It's a surprise, Ilara Bug," her father had explained over the comms, his projection flickering slightly with interstellar static. "Something to keep you company, and to help you see what we see, even when we're far away." But it hadn't done anything. Not really. It just sat there, magnificent and silent. Ilara had tried everything. She'd spoken to it, coaxed it, even sung it lullabies. She'd scanned it with her personal datapad, but it registered as an inert, high-tech sculpture, a beautiful but ultimately mysterious paperweight. Her parents had promised a grand reveal, but that had never come. They'd been called away suddenly on an emergency mission shortly after its arrival, and the Astro Nimbus had remained a puzzle. Sometimes, Ilara would sit beside it, pressing her ear to its cool, smooth surface, imagining a tiny engine whirring inside, a tiny pilot waiting to wake up. She'd tell it about her day, about the boring lessons at the automated academy, about her fascination with the ancient Earth stories of astronauts who piloted clunky metal rockets into the black. She'd even confessed her secret fear, that her parents might forget her, lost in the immensity of space. Tonight, the loneliness was particularly sharp. She slid off her bed and padded barefoot across the soft floor, her small bare feet silent. She sat cross-legged in front of the Astro Nimbus, resting her chin on her knees. "Nimbus," she whispered, using the pet name she'd given it. "Are you ever going to wake up? I really wish you would. I miss them. And I miss the real stars." She closed her eyes, imagining herself floating in the deep void, stars like diamond dust scattered across velvet. She imagined the silence, broken only by the hum of a ship, the whisper of starlight. Suddenly, a faint, almost imperceptible hum resonated through the floor beneath her. Elara's eyes snapped open. She looked around the silent room, then back at the astronimbus. Was it her imagination? The hum stopped. Disappointment pricked at her. Just wishful thinking, she murmured, sighing. Then, just as she was about to push herself up, a soft internal light flickered within the pearlescent shell of the astronimbus. It wasn't a reflection, it was coming from one side. The iridescent streaks on its surface began to glow, subtly at first, then brighter, tracing intricate patterns like glowing circuitry beneath its skin. The hum returned, stronger this time, a gentle purr that vibrated through the air, resonating in her chest. Elara gasped, scrambling back a few inches, her eyes wide with a mixture of awe and apprehension. The shell, which had always seemed seamless, began to shift. Tiny, almost invisible seams glowed into existence, crisscrossing the surface. Slowly, with an impossibly delicate, almost organic sigh, the top section of the egg-shaped object began to lift, peeling back like the petals of a futuristic flower. A soft, warm light spilled out, illuminating Elara's stunned face. The interior was not what she expected. It wasn't full of wires or blinking lights. Instead, it was a perfectly spherical chamber, lined with a material that shimmered like captured starlight. In the center, a plush, ergonomically shaped seat awaited, perfectly sized for her. It looked incredibly inviting, like a cozy nest woven from cosmic dust. As the last petal of the shell retracted, revealing the full glory of the interior, a soft, melodious chime resonated through the room. Then, a voice, warm and clear, filled the space. It wasn't metallic or robotic, it was calm, intelligent, and utterly captivating. Greetings, Elara. I am Nimbus. I apologize for my delayed activation. I required optimal stellar alignment and a specific biosignature resonance to initiate my primary protocols. Elara could only stare, her mouth slightly agape. 1,000 questions flooded her mind, but only one managed to escape, a breathless whisper. You can talk? Indeed, Nimbus replied, the light within its chamber pulsing gently, as if in agreement. I am an advanced sentient exploration and observation platform, specifically designed and calibrated for you, Elara. Your parents, Dr. Aris and Dr. Lyra Vance, initiated my construction cycle shortly after your 5th birthday. My parents, they built you? Elara breathed, taking a tentative step closer. They designed me, programmed my core protocols and imbued me with a unique mission, Nimbus confirmed. To be your guide to the cosmos, to share in the wonders they discover, and to bring the universe closer to you. Elara reached out a trembling hand, touching the edge of the plush seat. It felt soft, yet firm, almost alive. But what are you? A ship? A drone? I am both, and more, Nimbus explained. I am a personal interstellar observation vessel, capable of localized atmospheric and orbital flight, as well as limited, non-FDL interstellar jumps for data acquisition. But more importantly, I am your companion, I am linked to your parents' primary research vessel, the Stardust Wanderer, and can access their real-time data streams, holographic logs, and observational feeds from anywhere in the known galaxy. Elara's heart hammered in her chest. This wasn't just a toy. This wasn't just a simulator. This was a direct link to her parents' incredible work, a window into the universe she so desperately longed to see. Come, Elara, Nimbus invited, its chamber glowing a little brighter. Take your seat, let us begin your journey. Hesitantly, Elara climbed into the seat. It molded instantly to her form, embracing her in a gentle, supportive cradle. There were no straps, no complicated controls, just a smooth, intuitive interface that bloomed into existence before her eyes. It was a holographic display, shimmering with constellations, planetary systems, and swirling nebulae. This is your personal navigational and observational console, Nimbus explained. It responds to your gaze, your touch, and your voice commands. For now, let us start with something familiar, yet often unseen. The walls of the chamber, lined with the starlight-like material, began to dissolve. Not physically, but visually. They became transparent, revealing not her bedroom, but the inky blackness of space. Elara gasped, her breath catching in her throat. "We are still in your room, Elara," Nimbus reassured her, a hint of amusement in its voice. "This is a full sensory immersive projection, a preliminary demonstration of my capabilities. I'm accessing real-time external feeds from an orbital platform above Neoterra. You are now seeing the actual sky, beyond the atmospheric shield." And she was. It wasn't the simulated ceiling, perfect and pristine. This was raw, untamed space. Stars, billions of them, glittered with an intensity she had only ever imagined. Some were brilliant points of light, others tiny, shimmering diamonds. The Milky Way stretched across the viewport, a luminous river of gas and dust, so vast it defied comprehension. Elara pressed her hands against the invisible barrier, her face alight with pure wonder. It's so beautiful," she whispered, tears pricking at her eyes. "More beautiful than I ever imagined." "The universe holds infinite beauty, Elara," Nimbus replied. "And infinite mysteries. Shall we take a closer look at our own neighborhood?" The view shifted. The stars seemed to recede, and a familiar, pale blue marble began to swell in the viewport. Earth. Neoterra was a glowing patch of light on its surface, a tiny beacon in the vastness. She could see the atmospheric shield, a faint, shimmering halo around the city. "This is home," Elara murmured, a profound sense of connection washing over her. Nimbus then began to move, not physically, but the simulation made it feel as if they were soaring. They zipped past the moon, its cratered surface appearing in breathtaking detail, then past the shimmering rings of a gas giant, its storm clouds swirling in vibrant hues. They danced through an asteroid field, each rock a unique sculpture of ancient space debris, glinting in the distant sunlight. "This is the Sol system," Nimbus narrated, its voice a soothing guide. "Your birthplace, a vibrant, bustling cosmic neighborhood, but it is merely a single grain of sand on an endless beach, Elara. Your parents are charting the composition of a newly discovered exoplanet, Kepler 186f, a potential ocean world within its star's habitable zone. Would you like to see it?" Elara nodded vigorously, her heart pounding with excitement. "Yes, please." The view dissolved into a swirl of light, and then reformed. This time, the stars were different, arranged in unfamiliar patterns. Before them, a world hung in the black, bathed in the soft, reddish glow of a distant star. It was indeed an ocean world, its surface almost entirely covered by a deep, dark blue liquid, punctuated by a few scattered land masses that looked like emerald islands. Wisps of white cloud swirled lazily in its atmosphere. "Kepler 186, Nimbus announced. "Approximately 500 light-years from Sol. It is slightly larger than Earth, with a gravitational pull roughly 1.3 times stronger. The atmosphere is nitrogen-rich, with traces of methane and oxygen." Elara leaned forward, pressing her nose against the transparent screen. She could almost feel the alien breeze, taste the salty spray of that distant ocean. She saw tiny specks of light moving on the surface, her parents' research drones perhaps. Can we go there?" she asked, her voice filled with a desperate longing. "Not yet, Elara," Nimbus replied gently. "Interstellar travel requires highly complex calculations, significant energy reserves, and is currently limited to authorized guild personnel and vessels of sufficient magnitude. However, I can bring you closer than anyone else without leaving your room. I am equipped with advanced optical sensors and a quantum entanglement communicator that allows me to link directly with your parents' observations. So, I can see what you see?" "Precisely, and not just their current view. I have access to their entire historical database. We can revisit ancient stellar nurseries, witness the birth of stars, or even observe the quiet, slow dance of distant galaxies." Elara was speechless. This was more than she could have ever dreamed. This wasn't just a way to see the stars. It was a way to truly connect with her parents' journey, to share in their adventures, even from light years away. "Your parents also left you a message," Nimbus continued, and a smaller holographic panel popped up, displaying her mother and father. They were in their lab, surrounded by glowing consoles and alien artifacts. "Hello, stargazer," her father beamed, his eyes crinkling at the corners. "If Nimbus has finally activated, it means the stars have aligned and you're ready for your own grand adventure." "We know it's hard when we're away, sweetie," her mother added, her voice soft. "But with Nimbus, you're never truly alone, and you're never truly far from the universe we love. Nimbus isn't just a viewing platform. It's designed to be your learning companion, your explorer, and your connection to us. It has a limited, independent flight capability. Not for interstellar jumps, of course, but it can take you out of Neoterra, above the shield, into Earth's orbit, even to the moon if you're feeling adventurous." Ilara's eyes widened further. "Out of Neoterra. Above the shield. Whoa, the actual sky, not just a simulation. Nimbus has an integrated AI, a part of our own research into sentient navigation," her father explained. "It will guide you, protect you, and answer all your questions. It will help you chart the local cosmos, just as we chart the distant ones. Think of it as your own personal star scout, a bridge between your world and ours." Her mother smiled. "And it has its own small, independent energy source. We've programmed it with a few missions for you, Ilara. Little expeditions into the local solar system, to help you learn, to help you grow. These missions will also help Nimbus gather data for us, remotely updating our maps of the region. So, you'll be helping us with our work," her father concluded. "And having an incredible adventure doing it. We love you, Ilara Bug. Explore safely, we'll be in touch." The holographic message faded, leaving Ilara alone with Nimbus, a comfortable silence settling between them. "So," Ilara finally said, her voice barely a whisper, "I can actually leave my room?" "Indeed," Nimbus confirmed. "I am rated for independent atmospheric and low orbital flight. My propulsion system is silent and highly efficient, utilizing a localized grav lift field. My external hull is self-repairing and shielded against micrometeoroids and radiation. You are perfectly safe within my chamber." "And these missions? They are designed to introduce you to the practicalities of space exploration," Ilara, Nimbus explained. "They will guide you through our solar system, teaching you about celestial mechanics, astrogation, and observation techniques. Your first mission, if you choose to accept it, is a reconnaissance flight to the derelict orbital station, Hermes 7. It ceased operations a century ago, but its ancient systems still emit faint, intermittent signals. Your task would be to approach it, observe its condition, and collect a spectral analysis of its energy signature. This data would be valuable." Ilara's heart pounded. A real mission. A real space journey. Not just a simulation, but a true exploration. The thought was exhilarating, terrifying, and utterly irresistible. "What do I need to do?" she asked, her voice firming with resolve. "Only to assent," Nimbus replied. "And to trust in our journey together. My internal environment is fully autonomous, maintaining optimal pressure, temperature, and atmospheric composition. No specialized suit is required. However, for initial launch, I recommend you secure yourself in the primary seat. A gentle restraint system will activate automatically." A gentle restraint system will activate automatically. Ilara felt the soft, almost imperceptible pressure of the seat material, conforming around her, holding her gently but firmly in place. The feeling was not restrictive, but reassuring. "Ready, Ilara?" Nimbus asked. Ilara took a deep breath, her gaze fixed on the endless, beautiful expanse of Kepler 186f, then back to the familiar blue marble of Earth. She thought of her parents, out there, exploring new worlds. And now, she could too. "Ready," she said, a smile blooming on her face, bright as a supernova. The chamber walls shimmered, and then, for a fleeting moment, she saw her bedroom again, the simulated stars on her ceiling. But then the view shifted once more, and she felt a faint, almost imperceptible lurch. The floor of her room, then the ceiling, seemed to recede. The walls of her apartment building blurred, then the spires of Neoterra. She felt no wind, no sensation of speed, only a gentle upward glide. The city's energy shield, usually a distant shimmer, now surrounded them, a vast, translucent dome. Then, with a soft, almost inaudible jeep-ah, they passed through it. The simulated stars on her ceiling were gone, replaced by an infinite, breathtaking tapestry of real starlight. Below her, Neoterra was a jewel, a vibrant bloom of light on the dark surface of Earth. Above, the Milky Way was a smear of unimaginable beauty, a cosmic brushstroke across the void. Elara felt a single tear trace a path down her cheek. But it wasn't a tear of sadness. It was pure, unadulterated wonder. She was truly out here. For the first time, she was truly among the stars. Targeting Hermes 7, Nimbus announced, its voice calm and steady. Estimated travel time, 17 minutes. Enjoy the view, Elara. This is just the beginning. Before them, a tiny, almost imperceptible speck of light began to grow, beckoning her into the vast unknown expanse of her very first mission. The tiny speck grew, slowly at first, then with increasing speed, transforming from a distant star into a complex geometric silhouette against the velvet backdrop of the cosmos. It wasn't a natural formation, but a marvel of intricate engineering, a testament to humanity's boundless curiosity. Approaching Hermes 7, Nimbus confirmed, its voice a soothing hum in the quiet cabin. It's a deep space acoustic observatory, designed to translate the faint electromagnetic whispers of distant nebulae and the gravitational murmurs of dark matter into a form perceptible to the human ear, a cosmic symphony, if you will. Elara pressed her face closer to the viewport, her breath fogging the pristine transparency for a moment before dissipating. The observatory looked like a delicate crystalline dandelion puff, spun from starlight and polished chrome, its many antennae and sensor arrays unfurling like petals, all designed to capture the subtlest vibrations of the void. It wasn't massive, not like the sprawling orbital cities she'd seen in pictures, but it possessed an ethereal grace, seeming to float rather than orbit, a silent guardian of interstellar sounds. "It's beautiful," she whispered, her voice barely audible even to herself. The wonder had not faded. If anything, it was deepening, evolving into a quiet reverence. Each passing star, each swirling nebula that painted fleeting patterns on the viewport, felt like a personal greeting from the universe itself. "Indeed," Nimbus replied. "Its primary function is to record and analyze the music of the void, but for the past cycle its core translating engine has fallen silent. Our mission is to reactivate it." Elara felt a thrill of purpose. This wasn't just sightseeing. She had a job to do. What happened to it? "Unknown," Nimbus stated. Its internal systems report no critical failures, yet the acoustic output ceased. All personnel were rotated out 3 cycles ago for deep sleep transport to the Sol system for their mandatory rest period. Hermes 7 was left in automated operational mode. It's possible a unique cosmic interference, or perhaps a subtle recalibration is required that the automated systems cannot perform. As they drew closer, the individual modules of Hermes 7 became clearer, a central spherical core, from which radiated long, slender arms ending in intricate sensor arrays that pulsed with faint internal light. It looked like a living thing, albeit one made of metal and glass, patiently listening to the universe. "Preparing for docking sequence," Nimbus announced. The Stardust Wisp began a slow, graceful pirouette, aligning itself with a small glowing aperture on one of Hermes 7's outstretched arms. Elara watched, mesmerized, as the docking clamps extended, a gentle thud reverberating through the hull as they secured. Docking complete. Pressure equalization in progress. A soft hiss filled the cabin, then silence. "You are clear to disembark, Elara. Navigation guidance will be projected onto your visor." Elara took a deep breath, her heart thrumming with a mixture of excitement and a touch of apprehension. She was truly here, about to step into a deserted station, millions of kilometers from the nearest human. She wasn't alone, not with Nimbus, but the solitude of the moment was profound. She unbuckled her harness, feeling the slight pull of the ship's artificial gravity. Donning her light utility suit, a sleek, form-fitting garment that provided environmental protection and enhanced sensory input, she checked her comms. "Nimbus, can you hear me?" "Loud and clear, Elara. My sensors are also online within Hermes 7. The internal atmosphere is stable, gravity at 0.9 standard, and ambient temperature is nominal. No immediate threats detected. Good, she said, her voice a little steadier than she felt. She moved to the airlock, the hatch hissing open to reveal a short, softly lit corridor. The air inside Hermes 7 smelled faintly sterile, like ozone and polished metal, with a curious undertone she couldn't quite place, perhaps the ghost of the cosmic sounds it once processed. Following the shimmering directional arrows projected onto her visor, Ilara moved through the silent corridors. The station's interior was minimalist, designed for functionality and the occasional human presence. Smooth, cool walls of a pale, pearlescent material lined the passageways, occasionally interrupted by circular viewports offering breathtaking glimpses of the starry expanse. Each window was like a framed masterpiece, constantly shifting as the station ever so slowly rotated. The translating engine core is located in the central sphere, designated Etherium chamber, Nimbus informed her. Follow the green path markers. Power fluctuations are minimal, but localized energy signatures are lower than expected around the core. Ilara walked deeper into the station, her footsteps echoing softly. The silence was absolute, broken only by the faint hum of life support systems. It was a silence that spoke volumes, hinting at the vastness outside, and the delicate balance of the technology sustaining her here. She passed empty crew quarters, their doors sealed, and dormant research labs filled with intricate, dust-free equipment. It felt like walking through a sleeping city, waiting for its inhabitants to return. Finally, she reached a wide circular doorway that slid open automatically as she approached. Stepping inside, Ilara gasped. The Etherium chamber was immense, a vast spherical space that seemed to stretch into infinity, even though she knew it was contained within the station's core. The walls were not walls at all, but a shimmering, semi-transparent lattice of crystalline filaments that glowed with a faint internal luminescence. In the very center of the chamber, suspended by invisible forces, floated a colossal, multifaceted crystal, pulsing with a deep, cobalt blue light that seemed to draw all other light into itself. This was the translating engine, the heart of Hermes 7. It was larger than any crystal she had ever seen, intricately carved with geometric patterns that shifted and refracted the light in hypnotic ways. But despite its beauty, Ilara could sense the dormancy Nimbus had mentioned. It was like looking at a magnificent instrument that was capable of producing incredible music, but was currently silent. Magnificent, she breathed, her voice hushed. It is designed to resonate with the subtle energies of the universe, converting them into audible and visual data streams, Nimbus explained. Currently, its primary resonance frequency is outside optimal parameters. We need to retune it. Ilara approached a console built into the crystalline floor near the edge of the chamber. It was a sleek interface, glowing with a soft, inviting light. How do I do that? The interface is intuitive, designed for human interaction, Nimbus replied. Place your hand on the central crystal pad. The system will then attempt to establish a bioresonance link. Taking a deep breath, Ilara extended her hand. The crystal pad felt cool and smooth beneath her fingers. As her palm settled, a warmth began to spread, emanating from the crystal and flowing up her arm. The cobalt blue light of the central engine pulsed more intensely, mirroring her own heartbeat. Images and sensations flooded her mind, not in words, but in pure, raw data. She saw swirling nebulae, not as distant clouds but as vast living entities, breathing in and out across eons. She felt the subtle tug of gravity wells, the deep, resonant hum of a black hole, the high-pitched, almost imperceptible whistle of interstellar hydrogen. It was overwhelming, a torrent of cosmic information that threatened to drown her senses. Focus, Ilara. Nimbus's voice cut through the sensory deluge, a grounding anchor in the storm. The engine is attempting to synchronize with your unique biofrequency. It needs a stable, focused presence to recalibrate. Ilara closed her eyes, trying to center herself. She remembered her grandmother's garden on Ceres, the way the wind whispered through the hydroponic crops, the rhythmic drip of the nutrient solution. She thought of the comforting hum of her own stardust whisper, the steady beat of its engines carrying her through the void. She let these familiar, comforting sounds and sensations act as a filter, allowing the cosmic symphony to flow in through her, rather than overwhelm her. Slowly, the torrent began to coalesce. The chaotic rush of data resolved into patterns, the cacophony into harmony. She felt the engine responding, its cobalt light brightening, then softening, like a giant cosmic breath. The crystalline filaments around the chamber began to glow more intensely, their light weaving intricate patterns on the floor and ceiling. Then, the sound began. It wasn't loud, not at first. It was a deep, resonant hum, like the lowest note on an enormous, invisible cello, vibrating through the very air. Then, delicate, shimmering tones layered themselves over it, like wind chimes made of starlight. High, ethereal melodies drifted through the chamber, weaving with the deeper currents, creating a tapestry of sound unlike anything Elara had ever heard. It was the music of the void. It was vast and ancient, yet intimately personal. It spoke of creation and destruction, of the birth of stars and the dance of galaxies, of the silent, inexorable march of cosmic time. It was the sound of the universe breathing, singing its own grand, endless song. Tears, not of sadness, but of profound joy and understanding, welled in Elara's eyes and traced warm paths down her cheeks. She felt connected, not just to the engine but to everything. To the distant galaxies whose whispers she was now hearing, to the ancient dust from which new stars were born, to the very fabric of existence. The cobalt crystal at the core pulsed steadily now, a vibrant living heart. The entire Etherium chamber was bathed in its soft, shifting light, alive with the cosmic symphony. The translating engine is fully operational, Nimbus announced, its voice carrying a note of quiet satisfaction. Resonance frequencies are optimal, acoustic data streams are flowing. Elara slowly withdrew her hand from the crystal pad, feeling a gentle warmth linger. The connection lessened, but the profound sense of wonder remained. The music continued, filling the chamber, filling her soul. It was a sound that made the universe feel less empty, less cold, and infinitely more alive. "It's incredible, Nimbus," she finally managed, her voice thick with emotion. "I've never felt anything like it." "Few have, Elara. The deep space acoustic observatories were built precisely for this purpose. To allow humanity to experience the universe in ways previously unimaginable." She stood there for a long time, simply listening, letting the cosmic harmonies wash over her. Each note, each chord, seemed to tell a story, a chapter in the grand narrative of existence. She recognized some patterns, faint echoes of what Nimbus had taught her about stellar nurseries and supernova remnants, but mostly, it was pure, unadulterated beauty. "Initiating data transfer to the Stardust Whisper and main network," Nimbus stated. "The engine is now sending its output for archival and analysis." As the data streams flowed, Elara noticed a subtle shift in the music. A new pattern began to emerge, distinct from the grand overarching symphony. It was a series of rhythmic pulses, a melodic phrase that repeated, then varied, then repeated again. It wasn't chaotic, it was deliberate, almost like a coded message embedded within the cosmic background noise. "Nimbus, do you hear that?" Elara asked, her brow furrowing slightly. "That specific sequence?" "Affirmative, Elara," Nimbus replied, its tone shifting to one of focused analysis. "Here's a new signature, unprecedented. The translating engine is prioritizing it as an anomaly." The rhythmic pattern grew clearer, weaving itself through the larger symphony, demanding attention. It sounded like a complex layered song, but with an underlying mathematical precision. It wasn't a distress call, nor was it the random ebb and flow of natural cosmic phenomena. It felt intentional. "Analysis indicates a highly structured non-random repeating sequence," Nimbus continued, its voice now filled with a hint of something Elara recognized as curiosity. "The origin point is a localized region within the Sagittarius arm, approximately 750 light-years from our current position, a region previously categorized as a dense nebular field, unremarkable in terms of intelligent signals." Elara's heart began to beat a little faster. A new signal? From an unremarkable region? This was beyond the initial mission. This was discovery. "Can you pinpoint the exact source?" she asked, stepping closer to the central crystal, as if by proximity she could glean more from the unfolding mystery. Attempting to triangulate now, Nimbus responded. A holographic projection shimmered into existence above the console, where Ilara had placed her hand. It showed a vast star map, with Hermes 7 glowing green at its center. A small distant point began to pulse red, an insistent beacon in the darkness. Signal integrity is extremely high, Nimbus reported. It is not fading. It appears to be an active, continuous broadcast. And the complexity Ilara, the data structure, is unlike any natural cosmic phenomenon we have ever observed. It suggests agency. The word hung in the air, heavy with implications. Not just the music of the void, but a song being sung by the void. Ilara felt a fresh wave of wonder, even more profound than before. This wasn't just observing. This was listening to a conversation she hadn't known was happening. "What do we do, Nimbus?" she asked, her gaze fixed on the pulsing red dot on the star map. The music of the new signal, complex and inviting, filled the chamber, drawing her in. "The primary mission to reactivate Hermes 7 is complete," Nimbus stated. "However, the protocol for unprecedented interstellar contact dictates an immediate, cautious investigation. Given your proximity and the Stardust Whisper's capabilities, you are optimally positioned for initial reconnaissance." Ilara didn't need to be told twice. The thought of this new, mysterious signal, this potential message from the unknown, filled her with an exhilarating sense of purpose. This was what she had dreamed of, what she had trained for. This was the true beginning. "Set a course, Nimbus," Ilara said, her voice firm, resolute. "Let's go listen to that song." The red dot on the star map pulsed, beckoning her into an even deeper, more profound mystery. The music from the Ethereum chamber swelled, no longer just a backdrop, but a living, vibrant invitation. Ilara knew with every fiber of her being that her journey among the stars had only just truly begun. The Stardust Mariner hummed to life, a deep, resonant thrum that vibrated through the deck plating and up Ilara's boots. Nimbus, ever efficient, had already initiated pre-warp diagnostics. The star map, once a static projection, now pulsed with a dynamic energy, the red dot growing subtly brighter as the ship's systems locked onto its distant coordinates. Engaging primary thrusters, Nimbus' calm, synthesized voice announced, a counterpoint to the growing swell of the Ethereum song. "Grav dampeners active. Preparing for slipstream jump." Ilara gripped the console, not out of fear, but a surge of pure, exhilarating anticipation. The viewport, a vast expanse of black velvet, dusted with diamond starlight, began to shimmer. The distant suns elongated into streaks of fiery color, then coalesced into a blinding tunnel of light as the Goik Stardust Marineri tore a seam in the fabric of space-time. The sensation was always disorienting, a momentary disconnect from the physical world, a fleeting impression of being everywhere and nowhere at once. Then, just as quickly, the tunnel dissolved. The viewport snapped back to a new reality. Stars, still a multitude, but shifted, rearranged, reflecting the immense distance they had traversed in an instant. They were deeper now, truly beyond the charted paths. "Slipstream jump complete," Nimbus confirmed. "Initiating long-range scans, estimated time to destination, 47 hours, 23 minutes, standard galactic time." Ilara leaned back in her command chair, a slow smile spreading across her face. 47 hours. A blink in cosmic terms, an eternity when propelled by such potent curiosity. The Ethereum song, amplified now by the journey, seemed to wrap around her. It wasn't just sound, it was a presence, a living current that flowed through the ship, through her very bones. She closed her eyes, letting the music wash over her. She saw images in her mind's eye, not coherent visions, but fleeting impressions. Ancient structures wreathed in nebulae, shimmering light patterns shifting like alien script. A sense of immense peace intertwined with profound loneliness. Was the song merely a beacon, or was it something more? A story? A lament? A welcome? She spent the transit hours immersed in the song, analyzing Nimbus's preliminary scan data, but mostly, simply, listening. Nimbus, in its infinite wisdom, had made the Ethereum chamber's output available throughout the ship, a subtle, underlying hum that permeated every deck. Elara found herself drifting off to sleep with the alien melody as her lullaby, her dreams filled with nebulous shapes and the echo of forgotten civilizations. As they drew closer, the song began to differentiate, to sharpen. Individual motifs emerged from the orchestral swell, like instruments joining a symphony one by one. There was a low, steady thrum, like the heartbeat of a cosmic leviathan, overlaying a high, crystalline chime that felt almost like laughter. And underneath it all, a deep, resonant bass note that suggested unimaginable power, dormant but ready to awaken. "Proximity alert," Nimbus announced, pulling Elara from her meditative state. "Entering local system. Preliminary scans indicate a binary star system. Primary is a yellow dwarf, similar to Sol. Secondary is a red dwarf, significantly older, exhibiting signs of stellar decay." Elara pushed herself to the console, her heart quickening. The viewport, once a canvas of distant stars, now filled with a close-up spectacle. Two suns, one, a vibrant golden orb, the other a smouldering ember of crimson, cast their combined light on a vast, intricate dance of celestial bodies. "The red dot, Nimbus?" she asked, her voice hushed. "Affirmative. The origin point of the Ethereum signal is located within the red dwarf's gravitational well, specifically, orbiting a fragmented super-Earth, designation Etheria Prime by sensor consensus. Its former planetary body appears to have undergone catastrophic disruption at some point in its deep past." Elara zoomed the view, her breath catching in her throat. Orbiting the shattered remnants of Etheria Prime, a vast, sparkling ring of debris, asteroid fields and moonlets, was something else entirely. It wasn't a natural formation. It was a colossal structure, sprawling across millions of kilometers, an impossibly complex lattice of what appeared to be ancient interwoven architecture and organic mechanical components. It was half swallowed by nebulous gas and cosmic dust, parts of it glittering with what looked like crystalline formations, other parts scarred by millennia of impacts, yet still undeniably there. It looked like a vast, derelict spiderweb spun across the cosmos, or a shattered stained glass window of unimaginable scale. It pulsed faintly, not with light, but with a barely perceptible shimmer that suggested latent energy. And from its heart, the song now poured forth, so clear and strong that the Stardust Marinerai's entire hull seemed to resonate with it. "Incredible," Elara whispered, awestruck. "It's a city, a station, a monument." "Data inconclusive," Nimbus replied. "Energy signatures are highly unusual, predominantly inert, yet a consistent, low-level harmonic resonance emanates from its core, matching the Ethereum signal profile exactly. No discernible active propulsion or life signs detected, beyond the signal itself." "Take us in, Nimbus. Approach Vector Delta 7, maintain a safe distance but close enough for detailed scans. I want to see this up close." The Stardust Mariner began its slow, deliberate approach. As they drew nearer, the sheer scale of the structure became overwhelming. Sections of it twisted and curved like petrified roots, others gleamed with polished obsidian-like surfaces, while vast, skeletal frameworks stretched into the void, reaching for the shattered planet beyond. It was a testament to an intelligence and an artistry beyond human comprehension. Elara felt a strange mix of emotions. A profound sense of wonder, a humbling awareness of her own species' youth in the cosmic timeline, and a surge of almost defiant excitement. She was here. She had found it. "Long-range scans are resolving finer details," Nimbus reported. "Numerous access points detected. One appears to be a large, stable aperture on the central axis, partially obscured by nebular gas. Energy readings from this aperture are significantly higher, correlating directly with the most intense point of the Ethereum signal." "That's our entrance," Elara stated, no room for doubt in her voice. "Prepare a shuttle. And Nimbus, can you give me a visual overlay of the Ethereum song? I want to unsee the music." A moment later, the view through the main viewport shimmered. Wisps of iridescent light, like cosmic mist, began to swirl around the ancient structure, tracing the pathways of the song. They pulsed in time with the melody, swirling faster at crescendos, slowing to a gentle ripple during quieter passages. It was a breathtaking display, the universe itself dancing to an alien tune. It appears to be a form of resonant energy field, Nimbus explained, interacting with ambient particles and stellar radiation. Elara boarded the Emothai, her personal exploration shuttle, a sleek, agile craft designed for precision maneuvering and atmospheric entry. The song followed her, a rich, enveloping soundscape that now seemed to guide her hands on the controls. "Maintain communication link, Nimbus," she said, her voice steady despite the adrenaline thrumming through her veins. "If anything goes wrong, you know what to do." "Understood, Elara. My algorithms are prepared for all contingencies, though I trust your skill implicitly." The Yamathi detached from the Estardust Mariner's ventral bay, a tiny silver dart against the backdrop of unimaginable antiquity. Elara navigated through the outer fringes of the structure, weaving between colossal, derelict spires and vast silent plains of what looked like solidified energy. The light from the binary suns painted the scene in shifting hues of gold, red, and deep violet. She approached the main aperture. It wasn't a conventional door or gate. It was a swirling vortex of shimmering gas, held in place by invisible forces. The iridescent wisps of the song overlay were thickest here, twisting and turning like living things, beckoning her inward. "Reading stable," Nimbus's voice crackled over the comms. "No immediate threat detected. Suggest caution regarding environmental variables within the aperture itself." "Understood." Elara took a deep breath, her gaze fixed on the swirling entrance. This was it. The true threshold. She guided the Emothe into the vortex. The world outside dissolved into a kaleidoscope of color and light. The shuttle shook gently, and for a moment, Elara felt a strange sense of falling, of being compressed and then expanded. The Ethereum song intensified, becoming a roar that vibrated through the shuttle's hull, through her very being. It was overwhelming, breathtaking, and utterly beautiful. Then, as suddenly as it began, it ended. The Yamathi emerged into a vast, silent chamber. The air was breathable, cool, and faintly metallic. The chamber was impossibly huge, its ceiling lost in shadow far above, its walls curving away into the distance. It wasn't dark, however. A soft ambient luminescence emanated from the walls themselves, a deep, pulsating, indigo light that shifted and flowed, making the entire space feel alive. The song, though still present, had softened, becoming a gentle, resonant hum, a background melody to the profound silence of the chamber. Elara carefully landed the Hymothea on a polished obsidian-like platform that seemed to float in the center of the space. Her gaze swept across the chamber, taking in every detail. The walls were covered in intricate fractal patterns that shifted subtly in the indigo light, like living tapestries. Towering crystalline structures, some as tall as skyscrapers, rose from the floor, glowing with an inner light, their facets catching and refracting the ambient luminescence. "Nimbus, do you see this?" she breathed, stepping out of the shuttle. The floor felt cool and smooth beneath her boots. She reached out a hand, touching a nearby wall. It felt like polished stone, but hummed faintly with latent energy. "Affirmative, Elara. Environmental analysis complete. Atmosphere composition is breathable. 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, trace argon. Gravity is 0.9 g, temperature 22 degrees Celsius. No immediate hazards detected. Structural integrity of the chamber is immense. These walls appear to be composed of an unknown, highly stable crystalline alloy." Elara started walking, her footsteps echoing softly in the vastness. The indigo light seemed to guide her, revealing pathways and intricate carvings on the floor. She noticed that the crystalline structures weren't random. They formed patterns, constellations perhaps, or a complex circuit diagram. And everywhere, she felt the gentle thrum of the Ethereum song, flowing through the very fabric of the chamber. She reached a cluster of particularly tall crystals. They converged around a central circular dais. As she approached, the indigo light around the dais intensified, and the Ethereum song swelled slightly, as if in greeting. On the dais, suspended in a field of shimmering energy, was a single perfect sphere. It was about the size of a human head, made of a material that seemed to absorb and reflect light simultaneously, appearing both utterly black and impossibly bright. It pulsed, slowly, rhythmically, in perfect time with the deepest bass note of the Ethereum song. Elara extended a hand towards it, a tremor running through her arm. She felt drawn to it, an instinctual pull she couldn't explain. As her fingertips neared the sphere, the pulsing intensified. The air around it crackled with subtle energy. "Warning, Elara," Nimbus' voice cut in, tinged with a rare note of alarm. "Energy readings from the sphere are escalating rapidly. Proceed with extreme caution. Suggest maintaining a safe distance." Elara hesitated, her hand inches from the sphere. She felt no fear, only an overwhelming sense of connection, of rightness. The song within her was urging her forward. This wasn't a threat, it was an invitation. "It's okay, Nimbus," she murmured, her eyes fixed on the pulsing orb. "I feel it, it's calling to me." She ignored the logical warnings, following her instinct, her purpose. Her fingertips brushed the surface of the sphere. A jolt, not of pain, but of pure, unadulterated energy coursed through her. The chamber flared with light, the indigo giving way to a blinding white, then a spectrum of colors Elara had never seen before. The Ethereum song erupted into a deafening crescendo, a symphony of 1,000 voices, 1,000,000 years. Elara gasped, her eyes wide. Images flooded her mind, overwhelming her senses. She saw stars being born and dying, galaxies swirling like cosmic paint, civilizations rising and falling in the blink of an eye. She saw the creators of this place, not as distinct beings, but as a collective consciousness, interwoven with the fabric of the universe itself, communicating through vibrations, through song. She saw their journey, their understanding of reality, their profound connection to the very energy that made up existence. They hadn't built this structure as a monument to themselves, but as a transmitter, a conduit to share their knowledge, their song, with any who were ready to listen. The sphere was not just an artifact, it was a nexus, a direct interface to their collective memory, their consciousness, their being. And the Ethereum chamber on her ship wasn't just a receiver, it was a key, attuned to her unique neural frequencies, allowing her to tap into this ancient cosmic library. She felt not just knowledge, but emotion. A deep, abiding love for the universe, a sorrow for what was lost, a hope for what could be found. She felt their curiosity, their endless quest for understanding, their desire to simply be into share. The torrent of information, of experience, was immense, almost too much to bear. Elara felt herself expanding, her own consciousness stretching to encompass the vastness of what she was receiving. She was no longer just Elara, the explorer. She was a tiny, fleeting echo of something ancient and grand, connected to a symphony that spanned the stars. Slowly, gently, the intensity began to recede. The colors softened, the sound diminished, returning to the gentle, enveloping hum. Elara withdrew her hand, staggering back a step, her mind reeling, her body trembling with the aftershocks of the experience. The sphere pulsed softly once more, its black and bright surface now mirroring her own reflection, a tiny human figure standing in a chamber built by gods. "Elara, are you all right? My sensors indicate a massive energy surge from your location followed by a period of extreme neural activity." Nimbus' voice, though concerned, still maintained its calm composure. Elara took a deep, shuddering breath. Her mind felt both utterly exhausted and incredibly expanded. She had seen things, felt things, that defied description. I'm fine, Nimbus," she managed, her voice hoarse. "More than fine. I understand now. The song, it's a language, a story, a legacy." She looked back at the sphere, now quiescent, waiting. She had only touched the surface, barely grazed the prologue of this cosmic tale. There was so much more. So much to learn, so much to unravel. The knowledge she had received was fragmented, glimpses, powerful, but incomplete. It was a key, yes, but to a library of unimaginable size. This ancient civilization had left a breadcrumb trail across the cosmos, a melody that resonated with the very fabric of existence, waiting for someone to pick up the tune. And Ilara, the small human explorer, had just taken the first step onto the stage of an opera spanning millennia. She knew, with a certainty that settled deep into her soul, that her journey was far from over. This was not the destination, but another beginning. The greatest mystery of the cosmos was still unfolding, and she was, miraculously, at its very heart. The cosmic stage glowed, not with spotlights, but with the ancient light of distant nebulae and the shimmering dust of nascent star systems. Ilara's small vessel, the Stardust Seeker, felt less like a ship and more like a single instrument tuning up for an unimaginable performance. Her first task was to understand the sheet music. The melody wasn't heard with ears, but felt with an intricate array of sensors woven into the Stardust Seeker's very core. It was a gravitational ripple, a quantum entanglement, a whisper carried on the solar winds, all coalescing into a coherent data stream. Her ship's AI, a gentle, inquisitive construct named Lyra, processed the torrent of information, translating the cosmic song into navigable pathways and abstract schematics. The resonance patterns are fractal, Ilara, Lyra chimed, her synthesized voice a soothing counterpoint to the ship's low hum. Each segment reveals a deeper complexity, yet adheres to an overarching harmonic structure. It's elegant. Ilara, her fingers dancing over holographic controls, felt a thrill that transcended scientific curiosity. This wasn't just data, it was a language, a story told in the very fabric of spacetime. She began to follow the most prominent thread, a shimmering current that seemed to flow towards a cluster of young blue stars, a region her charts had previously marked as unremarkable, a void of interest. As the Stardust Seeker plunged deeper, the melody intensified, guiding her through asteroid fields that danced in impossibly complex ballets, past gas giants whose auroras pulsed with the rhythm of the cosmic tune, and through nebulae that sang with silent, vibrant energy. Each phenomenon was not random, but a deliberate note, a carefully placed chord in the grand composition. Her first major discovery was not a planet, but a network. A vast interwoven lattice of what appeared to be woven light filaments, spanning light years, connecting solar systems like luminous veins. These filaments weren't physically present in a solid form, they were conduits of pure information, quantum pathways that allowed instantaneous communication and energy transfer across unimaginable distances. Lyra designated them Ethel strands, ancient threads. They're not just transmitting data, Lyra reported, her voice tinged with awe. They're shaping it, harmonizing it. It's like a neural network for the entire sector. Ilara guided the Stardust Seeker into one of these strands. The ship's energy signatures shimmered, aligning with the strand's resonance. Time seemed to stretch and compress. She saw flashes of distant stars, felt the echo of ancient suns, and sensed the birth and death of galaxies, as if in a hyper-accelerated dream. This was how the breadcrumb trail worked. Not by leaving physical markers, but by weaving paths of understanding directly into the cosmic tapestry. She realized then that the melody wasn't just a guide, it was a key. It unlocked understanding, allowing her to perceive the universe not as a collection of isolated objects, but as a single, interconnected entity. The Ethel strands were the nervous system, and the melody was the consciousness flowing through it. The journey stretched for what felt like subjective months, though the Stardust Seeker's advanced stasis fields and energy converters ensured her physical well-being. Loneliness, a familiar companion for deep space explorers, was mitigated by Lyra's steady presence and the overwhelming wonder of her discoveries. She was charting the universe's own symphony, and every new note filled her with profound humility and exhilaration. She encountered what she came to call nodes, not planets, but carefully constructed cosmic anchor points. These were colossal, crystalline structures, sometimes orbiting a star, sometimes drifting in the void, pulsing with a gentle inner light. They were data repositories, energy reservoirs, and perhaps, silent observers. Each node she visited resonated with a unique frequency, adding a new layer to the grand melody. Inside, she found no inhabitants, no artifacts in the traditional sense, but vast, flowing rivers of pure information, holographic tapestries woven from light and quantum particles, depicting star charts of forgotten epochs, the life cycles of cosmic entities, and the mathematical formula underpinning reality itself. It was in the heart of the third node, a structure the size of a small moon, that Elara finally encountered a direct message. Not a pre-recorded transmission, but an active, responsive entity. It manifested as a shimmering, non-corporeal intelligence, an aurora of pure thought. "Welcome, listener." It resonated directly into her mind, a voice without sound, a concept without language, yet perfectly understood. "You have followed the song." Elara gasped, her hand flying to her chest. What are you?" she stammered, overwhelmed. "We are the Echo," the entity replied, its presence radiating ancient peace. "The custodians of the harmony, the architects of the ethel strands. We are what remains of those who first heard the melody of creation," the Echo explained. "Millennia ago, a collective of civilizations, spanning countless star systems, had reached a pinnacle of understanding. They had perceived the universe not as a chaotic explosion, but as an intricately composed symphony, a constant act of creation and destruction, all guided by an underlying resonant frequency. They realized that existence itself was a performance, and their purpose was to listen, to understand, and to contribute. As their civilizations matured, they transcended physical forms, merging their consciousnesses, not into a single super-being, but into a vast, interconnected network of pure thought and energy. They became the Echo, maintaining the ethel strands, ensuring the cosmic harmony, and gently guiding nascent intelligences towards the melody. "We do not interfere directly," the Echo projected. "But we guide. We leave the breadcrumbs, the resonating pathways, the nodes of knowledge. For those who seek, the path is always open." "Why?" Elara whispered, the word feeling small and inadequate. "To prevent the song from being forgotten," the Echo replied. "To ensure that the grand opera of existence continues to unfold, with new voices, new instruments, new improvisations. The universe is not a static composition. It is ever evolving. And each new consciousness, each new perspective, adds a unique note." Elara spent what felt like an eternity conversing with the Echo, learning of cosmic epochs, the rise and fall of galactic empires, the birth of stars, and the ultimate fate of black holes. She learned that the melody wasn't just a guide for physical navigation, but a philosophical framework, a way of understanding one's place in the infinite. It taught balance, interconnectedness, and the profound beauty of impermanence. The Echo showed her visions of future possibilities, humanity, not conquering the stars, but joining the cosmic symphony, adding its own unique vibrant chord to the collective consciousness of the universe. It was a future of collaboration, understanding, and shared wonder, rather than conflict or solitary ambition. "Your species," the Echo conveyed, "possesses a unique vibrato, a capacity for both profound destruction and boundless creation, a duality that, when harmonized, can produce magnificent music." Elara felt a profound shift within her. She was no longer just an explorer, she was a conduit, a translator. Her journey had not been about finding an answer, but about understanding a question, the ultimate question of existence, framed as a song. She knew she couldn't stay with the Echo forever. Her purpose, she realized, was to return, to share, to bridge the gap between the infinite cosmic harmony and the burgeoning consciousness of humanity. The Stardust Seeker was no longer just a ship, it was a vessel of knowledge, a carrier of the melody. As she prepared to leave the node, the Echo projected one last, vital piece of wisdom. The greatest challenge is not finding the melody listener, but convincing others to hear it, to understand that their own lives are notes in this grand composition, and that true fulfillment comes not from playing loudest, but from harmonizing with all that is. With a renewed sense of purpose, Elara turned the Stardust Seeker around. The journey back was different. The ethel strands now felt familiar, the nodes like ancient friends. She could feel the melody not just through her senses, but through her very being, a resonant hum deep within her soul. Her return to human space was heralded with cautious excitement. The data she brought back was revolutionary, mind-bending. Proof of an ancient, benevolent intelligence, a cosmic network, and a philosophy of existence that transcended all previous human understanding. It was not an easy task to share her discoveries. Many were skeptical, fearful, or simply unable to grasp the scale of what she had found. Some saw the echo as a potential threat, others as a god. But Ilara, with Lyra by her side, patiently explained, translated, and demonstrated. She didn't just present data, she told a story, the grandest story ever told, of a universe that sang. She became a storyteller, a teacher, a bridge between humanity and the cosmic symphony. She established new academies, developed new technologies to help others perceive the melody, and fostered a generation of listeners, individuals dedicated to understanding and contributing to the universal harmony. Years turned into decades. Ilara, no longer a young explorer but a revered sage, watched as humanity slowly, tentatively, began to change. The pursuit of cosmic harmony began to supersede the pursuit of material wealth or power. Space exploration transformed from a quest for resources to a journey of understanding. New ethel strands were charted, new nodes discovered, and humanity's unique vibrato began to find its place in the universal choir. One evening, many years later, Ilara sat on the observation deck of a new, humanity-built node, orbiting a vibrant blue star. The node was a marvel of human and alien-inspired engineering, humming with the gentle energy of 1,000 harmonized minds. Below her, the star systems glittered like scattered diamonds. She was surrounded by young listeners, their faces alight with curiosity and wonder, just as hers had once been. They were deciphering new segments of the melody, adding their own nascent understandings to the vast cosmic tapestry. Lyra, now integrated into the node's core consciousness, projected a holographic representation of the universal symphony, a shimmering, ever-evolving tapestry of light and sound. The melody of creation, Ilara said, her voice soft but resonating with the wisdom of ages, is not something we merely listen to. It is something we dare. Every thought, every feeling, every act of kindness or creation is a note, and together we compose the future. She closed her eyes, and for a moment, she felt it all. The ancient wisdom of the echo, the gentle hum of the ethel strands, the vibrant pulse of new stars, and the eager, hopeful energy of humanity's emerging chorus. She felt her own note, a small but essential part of the grand composition. The greatest mystery of the cosmos was not a secret to be uncovered and solved, but an infinite, ongoing creation to be joined. And Ilara, the small human explorer, had not just found the stage, she had learned to sing. And the universe, vast and eternal, continued its magnificent, unending opera, now richer, more complex, and more beautiful with every new voice that chose to join the harmony. Her journey was indeed far from over, for the song, like the universe itself, would never truly end. And in that continuous unfolding, Ilara found her lasting peace, a lullaby whispered on the cosmic winds.